Can I be of any more help?
Oh, thank you, Joseph. Well at it.
Who is it, Christian?
Bill Craig, drowned.
Poor Louise, her only son. Bill Craig, but I saw him only this afternoon. He was going swimming. Where did you find him?
In the swamp near the ferry. Only his legs were sticking out. We had a hard time to get him loose.
How dreadful. The noose!
Oh, quiet, quiet, I say. Can't you see, you fools? There are only a few vines and roots around his neck, nothing else.
It's a perfect noose for anybody who can see. It's the Strangler again.
Oh, don't be silly. Look.
You see? If the county council had listened to me, they would have allotted money to drain the swamp. This wouldn't have happened.
Draining the swamp would never drive away the Strangler. It's not that easy to get rid of him.
There isn't any Strangler. He exists only in your own superstitious mind.
Is that so? Then why did you send your son to the city never to return? It's because you know you're all marked men. You and Chris and Joseph and my husband.
Oh, you're crazy. Here. Salt and Jeffers, carry the boy to his home. I'll go ahead and inform his mother.
It was the Strangler got Bill.
Everything is coming true as he said it would. Word for word. Let's go and take down that cursed rope.
Yes.
Who's there?
Martina Sanders.
What are you doing here this time of night?
Just take us across to the other side, Joseph. Found Bill Craig tonight. A noose round his neck.
I saw Bill, but I didn't see anything like a noose.
The Strangler got him.
You'd believe anything, wouldn't you? Why doesn't he visit me? I live closest to his grave.
He will. You too are a marked man.
I'd like to see that old drunken card sharp again.
He was all right, yes, a no-good. But was he a murderer?
Of course he was. Everyone knows that.
It was your testimony that hanged him, Joseph. He offered an alibi.
If only you had listened to the few who didn't agree. But no, you had to act quickly. He just couldn't die fast enough for your crazy raid. And you got what you always wanted, didn't you, Joseph? His ferry.
What do you mean?
Nothing, nothing.
Then hold your tongue.
evil noose was made when they found Farmer Berkeley murdered in his field.
When they accused Ferryman Douglas of the crime and hanged him.
He screamed that he was innocent, but that didn't stop them. It was then he spoke the curse. Joseph, why have you let that rope hang here all these years?
It serves as a warning.
A warning? To whom? Joseph, we're going to take that down.
No, it stays there. Since that's been there hasn't been any more trouble.
There's been more trouble than ever since it hangs there. Have you forgotten Bill Jenkins, who was thrown from his horse and choked to death by the rain?
And Shelton, strangled by the pulley rope as he fell from his hayloft?
And Henry Craig, throttled by his fishnet? And tonight his son Bill choked to death by the weeds.
What's Bill Craig to do with it? He wasn't even at the hanging.
Have you forgotten Douglas' vow that he'd return to strangle all of his hangmen and their descendants for generations to come?
He's become a scourge, sparing none of our men.
Nonsense, nonsense, I say. You're a bunch of superstitious old women. The rope remains where it is.
A sign from heaven.
Nonsense. The rope was old, rotten. It just fell down.
It was a sign from heaven. A sign for you to make the sacrifice.
And lift the curse. And save the others. Yes, Joseph, heed it. Give yourself willingly into the hands of the Strangler, and his curse will be broken forever.
You must be insane, women. Sacrifice. Where did you get that silly idea?
Jenkins told me before the Strangler got in. He said that only the sacrifice of one of you or your kin could break the curse. Jenkins was a wise man. He knew a lot about these things.
Then why didn't he make the sacrifice?
He thought about it, but he waited too long.
Sacrifice ridiculous. I'm only 70. That's not old for a man. I've plans for the future. My grandchild will come, take over the ferry, and I'll have time to do what I always wanted, plant sugarcane.
Ah, you're all like that. Only noble men are willing to give their lives to save others. You're all small. That's why the curse will never be lifted. Good night, Joseph.
Hello.
Yes, Joseph.
Douglas, have you risen from the dead? What are you trying to do? Frighten me? I know it's just a trick of my imagination. But how is it I can see you? Where do you come from?
From my grave in the swamp. Never the heart and soul of a cursed one are filled with anguish to the brim, I appear. Tonight, it is your soul that calls.
You can't be there. You're not real.
Your guilty conscience is real. The rope you hang me with is real.
Poor old Joseph didn't leave much.
No.
Here are 2 pairs of trousers.
Describe them.
One dark, good shape. One gray, worn, I'd say.
Gray, threadbare. Go on.
And 6 shirts, that's all's here.
6 shirts. You're very obliging, Jeffers, to help me with this inventory.
Thank you, Christian. I'm always glad to lend a hand.
I've been thinking for some time of getting you set into something more solid, more substantial than just odd jobs. Now we have something for you.
Me? Oh, I sure thank you, Christian, for thinking about me.
I was talking to the council this morning about you. They put up quite an argument, but finally they gave in.
They know who's boss, don't worry.
Yes, Jeffers, now you're the new ferryman.
Oh, no. No, not for $1 million.
What?
Nothing could make me spend even one night here.
Well, you're a coward.
I don't care what you say. I am afraid, but so are all the others.
Why, Anna has influenced you. You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
I can think for myself. I have my own theories. Where, for instance, is the rope we found around Joseph's neck? It was by the body when we brought him into the village square. Then it was gone. Things are not natural.
Oh, somebody took it, maybe. Maybe one of the children to play with it.
Or the strangler.
Oh, you make me sick. Let's go on with the inventory.
Oh, look, here's some letters and papers.
Well, here, put them in here. I'll look at them later. Now, how about shoes and boots?
Well, oh, Christian, look. Someone on the opposite shore.
You know her?
Never saw her before.
Hello, Mr. Sanders.
Why, Maria.
That's right.
Here, let me take your bag. Well, you were such a little girl. I'd forgotten all about you. It must be 10 years ago that you were here.
Where's Grandfather?
Well, come in and sit down.
What's wrong? Has something happened to him?
Well, Maria, he wasn't young anymore. He was past 70.
Is he dead?
Yeah.
When did it happen? How?
He had a very easy death, Maria. Just slipped over into a better world. We buried him 3 days ago. It was a nice funeral. All the villagers were there to say goodbye. Oh, I know how you must feel, Maria. Why don't you come and stay at my house for a few days, at least until everything is all right?
You're very kind, Mr. Sanders.
I hope you won't find the bed too hard. When Chris left home, he was just the age when boys think they can become strong only by denying themselves every comfort.
I'm not spoiled.
Are you sure you're doing the right thing, Maria?
I think so.
But Maria, running the ferry is awfully hard work. And not for a woman.
I'm only doing what I think Grandfather would have wanted. And Mr. Jeffers and Mr. Sanders thought it was a good idea. Said I'd have more customers than I could handle. You see, being all alone, working in the city, well, it isn't much fun. And as far as the work being hard, I can do it. I'm strong.
But you'll still be living alone. And so far out.
I know, but it won't be the same, because it'll be mine. I'm not afraid.
No, young people never are. But I'm afraid.
Why? Of what? Everyone seems so nice.
Oh, you'll think I'm just a superstitious old woman. But the swamp, things have happened out there that are not natural.
I don't believe in the supernatural.
But the danger is real. Oh, don't think I'm trying to give you bad dreams or that I'm trying to frighten you away. I'm not. I like you, dear. But I just couldn't bear to see you go out there without giving you a warning, dear.
You're very nice, Mrs. Saunders. Thank you so much.
Well, I guess I'd better be going downstairs. Mr. Sanders will be through with his meeting now. Good night, Maria. Sleep well under our roof, dear.
Thank you. Good night.
Well, Christian, I don't see any harm has been done. The girl wants to be our new ferryman. The only danger I can see is in loneliness.
It isn't a question of danger. I didn't tell her the whole truth about the death of her grandfather because I wanted to soften the shock. All I ask of you and your women is to keep quiet. I'll tell her the truth when the time comes.
I think you did right, Christian. It wouldn't made her feel any better.
Well, I guess that's all I wanted to say.
Well, good night, Christian.
Good night, Joe.
Good night, Christian.
Good night, Tom.
I'd like to stay a minute if it's all right.
Yeah.
Christian, I'm sure the strangler took it. Yes, took what? The rope.
I can't eat. I can't sleep. I just wait for the strangler to get us like he got Joseph.
Now, that is just nonsense. Joseph Hart committed suicide. I found proof among his papers. Here. Read this.
A confession. That he killed Berkeley in a quarrel. And gave wrong testimony. And cowardly enough, I accused Ferryman Douglas. But believe me, neighbors and friends, I haven't had one peaceful hour since. Christian, that means that we hanged an innocent man.
We are guilty of acting too hastily, but what's done is done. And all our regrets won't bring a hanged man back to life.
But he is back. He walks among us and kills us one by one.
Can do no harm. In this sacred place, your power is broken. Dear Father, the little girl in our home, keep her safe from all harm.
Can't the village afford to have its own doctor instead of bothering you every time?
They're too sturdy. They simply won't get sick. A doctor would starve here.
Only from time to time they get their necks broken, don't they, Doc?
Very true, my boy. Accidents and occasionally a childbirth is the only thing they ever need me for. Goodbye, Maria.
Goodbye, Doctor.
Hurry, George. Pick up the bags. Come along.
Bye.
Signal when you want to get across?
Well, don't get excited. I'm not trying to steal it. Just sit down. I'll pull it over.
It's my boat. I get paid for doing it.
You're, independent, aren't you, Maria? Mother wrote me about you.
Your mother?
Martina Sanders. I'm Christian Sanders, Junior.
All right, Junior, now just sit down and don't rock the boat.
Well, don't call me Junior. I don't like it. Call me Chris.
All right, Chris.
Same smell of swamp water. I missed it. I've been pretty homesick for the last 3 years.
You've come home to stay?
Yep, gonna be a farmer like my dad.
Your father's a very important man here.
Sure.
Sometimes I'm afraid of him. He's so stern, so sure of himself.
Well, you don't know him. He's soft as butter. I can wrap him around my little finger. Met any of the boys around here yet?
You?
Guess they're hanging around here all the time, huh?
Oh, no, they're much too nice.
Oh, bashful. Well, that's good. That's very good. I'll be seeing you.
You know, Chris, I worry every moment when you're home. I long to see you, dear, but why did you have to come home? Why?
Well, I love it here. More than any place in the world. I belong here.
Chris is right. It'll stop all the stupid rumors and gossip.
Don't worry, Mother. I believe in what you yourself taught. We're in the hands of the Almighty and nothing can harm us.
Chris, you're not going out. It's your first evening at home.
Well, I'm just going out with some of the fellas.
You don't stay out too late, son.
All right, Dad.
A fine boy, your son, Mrs. Sanders. The girls will be crazy about him at the Halloween dance.
Say, how'd you like to go to a Halloween dance with me?
Oh, that will be a busy day for me.
Every year I win all the prizes. I'm the best dancer around here.
I don't doubt it. I'm sure I'd enjoy it. But who would bring all the guests across?
That's crazy. Such a pretty girl worrying about her job. Say, you should marry, have a nice home.
I'm happy as I am.
Maybe so, but you need protection. You think I'm kidding. Listen, I'll tell you what nobody else in the village has dared tell you, because they're afraid to let you in on a secret of the village. Yep, the big secret of a strangler who roams around and kills people.
All right, George, you tell me your story some other time.
No, I'll tell you right now. You are in danger, believe me.
I can see that.
What's the matter with you? Running away from me, eh? I guess I'm a little pickled. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Better go home and sleep it off.
Thank you, Chris.
Next time he gets fresh, push him overboard.
I will. Good night.
No, you go in first and lock the door.
Good night, Chris.
Maria,
Yes?
is it all right if I stop around now and then? Just see everything's all right.
You'll find me right here. I can't very well get away.
All right, I'll see you tomorrow then.
Good night, Chris.
Yes, Mom, come on in.
I saw Mrs. Ryan today, Chris. She's peeved because you haven't called on Margaret once, although you've been home almost a month. It's really not polite.
Well, Margaret bores me.
I thought you liked her. You two were...
I've outgrown that.
Oh, Look at these dirty shoes. You've been in the swamp again. I plead with you day in and day out, and you won't listen. Death waits behind every bush and tree.
No, Mother. Somebody very beautiful and lovely.
Maria? Have you seen her often?
Yes, I didn't like the idea of her being out there in the swamp so long.
She's a very courageous girl.
And sweet.
Are you in love with her, Chris? Seriously?
Very much.
Oh, Chris, keeping a secret from your mother. What kind of a son are you? Did you tell her?
No.
Why not?
Well, I just can't seem to get up the courage.
No, that's a new side to your character.
Well, honest, Mom, it isn't as simple as you think. I just can't seem to get the right chance. Then there are times I think she might turn me down.
Why should she? You're a handsome boy, come from a good family, and... Well, if I were a young girl, I'd be waiting for you to speak up.
Well, I hope she is. Say, how did Dad pop the question?
Well, that was different. You see, we'd known each other since childhood, and we'd always taken it for granted that we'd marry each other.
Well, that is different.
Let your heart tell you when the right moment comes, Chris. The fewer words, the better then, dear.
There, now you won't fall through. Any for your thoughts?
The swamp makes me think of fairy tales. So lovely. Any minute you expect beautiful old legends to come to life.
Well, at least somebody doesn't see evil spirits running around.
You know, I almost did last night.
Why?
In the middle of the night, I heard the signal. I ran down and pulled across to the other side. No one was there. I called out. No, there wasn't any answer. So I started back.
And?
Well, I had the strangest feeling that someone was standing behind me.
Look, Maria, you just can't stay out here at night any longer. I won't...
But, Chris, what do you think I found this morning? A little dead bird lying near the plowshare. In the night, it must have flown right into it.
Well, it's an explanation. But believe me, Maria, you can't stay out here at night any longer. You've got to give up this ferry business.
I like my job, Chris. What else could I do?
Marry me. I love you, Maria.
Oh, Chris.
I love you very much.
Christian, the strangler almost got me. I saw him. I heard his voice.
Now, come. Don't be a fool. Pull yourself together. What happened?
I was coming home through the swamp. Suddenly, I saw a shadow and started running. I stumbled on a tree root. Then clammy, wet fingers grabbed me by the throat. I heard his devilish laugh, and then he was gone. I'll never forget it as long as I live.
When you fell, you got caught in a few wet twigs, that's all. Can't you reason anything out?
Oh, maybe I am crazy, but I just can't stand it any longer. I feel the rope hanging over us. You're so sure of yourself. You know everything, don't you? But let me tell you, Christian, there's only one way out for all of us. Sacrifice.
Sacrifice?
One of us must give himself voluntarily into the hands of the strangler to break the curse.
You're willing to try anything, aren't you?
Christian, let me talk to you as one who admires you, thinks highly of you.
Come to the point.
You're rich and respected. You've accomplished everything that a man can expect of life.
And?
The village would always remember you. Would treasure your memory if you could bring yourself to make that sacrifice.
So you can sleep at night?
Yes.
Wouldn't it be more logical to save the greatest success in town, me, as you so nicely said, and sacrifice the greatest fool, you, Jeffers? Wouldn't that be more logical? If one of us has to jump in the swamp, it's going to be you. And if the strangler doesn't get you, then pneumonia will. Now get out. Go on, get out. Get out, you crackpot. Oh, this swamp breeds more rumors than mosquitoes. I'm going to call the village council together and do something about it, and at once. We'll dry it up and build a road across it.
But you haven't any money. The county turned down your application for funds.
Well, I'll find a way. I use the church funds to begin with.
Christian, you won't dare. That money is pledged to build a church of our own. These poor people saved it penny by penny.
Now, they'll see the importance of my plan.
Nothing is more important in any community than a church. Christian, is it possible that you two, deep in your heart, are afraid of the swamp?
That's the most ridiculous statement I ever heard. I'm going over to see Carl, and I'll be late for dinner.
I've got it all planned. Tomorrow night you put on your best dress, and I'll come out and get you. We'll go over and see Mom and Dad, and when we get their blessings, we can announce the engagement at the Halloween party.
But what about the ferry?
Forget about the ferry.
How could I, Chris? It's been too much like my life. Going back and forth from shore to shore. Never resting, never stopping. And I'll never forget that it brought us together. Being here with you, looking into your eyes, for the first time in my life, I know what it means to be home.
Oh, yeah.
Jeffers!
Don't try to stop us. We made up our minds.
I wasn't talking to you.
She's right. We don't want to spend another hour in this cursed village. We're leaving for good.
Oh, you coward.
Get out of my way. Come on.
Where's old Jeffers going?
He's running away from the curse.
Poor man, scares as easy as a rabbit.
Yes. Sit down, son. You're home early tonight for a change. I haven't seen very much of you the last few days.
Well, I guess you know where I've been spending most of my time.
Yes, I think I do. As a matter of fact, it's had me a little worried.
Well, you can forget it. We're getting married. I'm bringing Marie over tomorrow night to meet a new mother and father.
I wish I could give you my blessing, son, but I can't. Her grandfather, Joseph Hart, is a murderer.
What?
He killed Berkeley.
Well, you can't mean it.
Every word of it. I found his confession after he committed suicide.
Suicide? Well, does Maria know this?
No, I didn't tell her about it.
Well, I don't see why Maria should suffer for a crime her grandfather committed. She's as innocent as I am. Or as guilty.
Oh, now, don't get excited, son.
Why not? There's a murderer in my family.
Chris!
You helped in the mobbing and hanging of Douglas for a crime somebody else had committed.
We had the word of Joseph Hart that Douglas did it. Joseph alone bears all the guilt.
Everybody shares in the guilt of that hanging, including you and me.
Nonsense, you weren't even there.
The sight of Maria fills your righteous heart with horror just because she's kin of a bad man. Then that same horror should shake you every time you look at me, because you're no different than Joseph Hart.
Chris, you've said enough. Don't bring that girl in this house.
Then I won't be here tomorrow night either. Good night. Strangler.
What is it, Chris?
Saw his face.
Whose face?
Face of the man they hanged. Took the shortcut.
Yes, darling, and ran into a deer trap.
It was the Strangler.
Don't speak. Don't be afraid. Close your eyes. And I'll hurry for Dr. McDaniel. I'll be right back.
Chris is doomed. A doctor cannot help. He will die. Once this boat was mine.
I know now. What are you going to do?
Make sure he dies.
Don't. He's gone.
He shall not escape.
Maria.
Chris!
Maria.
Is Christian going to try and talk the people out of that church fund in his Halloween speech? He can't do it, can he, Martina?
He certainly will try.
We won't let him. I want a roof over my head when I pray.
Tonight I shall tell you of my plan to enrich our farmland by draining the swamp. Naturally, a project like this costs money. Since our village isn't wealthy, each of us will have to make sacrifices.
Is Chris here?
You should know better than I where Chris is. Bursting into this house?
The Strangler's after Chris.
What are you saying?
The Strangler caught him in a deer trap.
Is he dead?
He was almost dead when I found him.
Well, where is he?
I don't know. I was running for the doctor when the Strangler stopped me.
Well, never mind the Strangler. Where is Chris?
I took him to the hut, and then he was gone. And
Dorothy's in the swamp. The Strangler.
Well, tell Mrs. Sanders, tell the others. Tell them to start a search. I'll go ahead. Now, whoever finds Chris first will take him across to the doctor. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right.
Let the fool run. I'll get him, too. Don't move. Stay here and tell no one. There is no help for him. No matter where you go, I'll stop you. I'll deafen their ears to you. Run, run, you little fool. Run till your heart bursts.
You shall not touch him as long as I live.
Chris. Oh, you'll be all right, my son. I'll get you to the doctor.
For the old chapel. He can't follow there. The church. My darling.
A strangler.
We're safe here in the chapel.
There is no escape. He will die.
I'll wake the village. They'll bring help. We must destroy him.
He's dying. He's dying.
He's dying.
He will not die. No, no. He cannot die.
Nothing can save him.
I can save him.
Don't, Maria. Don't cross the threshold.
We're safe on the inside. Don't cross.
Your cruel hand shall not touch him anymore. I give myself willingly into your hands. Take me. Give up the fight. Leave vengeance to the Almighty. Make peace with him. Make peace with him. Leave the living alone.
I can breathe again.
He's gone, Chris. He's gone forever.